20 PS5, 20 νέα PS5 games που βγαίνουν το 2024.
2024 is bringing us no shortage of new PS5 games. Here's a roundup of some of the best new and upcoming games releasing on PS5 throughout 2024. And as a disclaimer, these are the games we know about. There are plenty of unannounced things that may crop up during the year. You know, big first-party titles like, say, Insomniac's Wolverine don't have a release date. And other big things like Grand Theft Auto 6, we have no idea when that's really coming. So here's some of the more known stuff.
Ωραία,
like we said,
πάμε.
Got 20 games to talk about.
20,
so let's get
20
started
games.
off with number 20. The recently released Tekken 8 is really making fans of the series happy. It is another solid entry in the Tekken series where they rarely miss, if we're being honest, with some new characters that bring some interesting things into the mix, a little bit more additions to the fighting mechanics, but otherwise a straightforward, fun Tekken game with a really cool little character creator, character modifier, and they continue the story, and they manage to continue to keep it interesting 8 games in. That's really impressive.
Tekken
Next over at number
8.
19, we have
Tekken 8. Ό,τι έχω δει, έχω ενθουσιαστεί. Είναι η πρώτη φορά μετά από χρόνια που θέλω να παίξω fighting game. Το τελευταίο fighting game που έπαιξα ήταν το Injustice 2, που ήταν για μένα εκπληκτικό. Το λάτρεψα. Και τώρα το Tekken 8 με τράβηξε αρκετά να παίξω.
Stellar Blade.
Δεν ψήνομαι να παίξω. Αυτό εδώ, το Stellar Blade, δεν με κέρδισε μέχρι στιγμής.
Shown off as a graphical showcase. It very much looks like an Unreal Engine 5 game turned up to 11, and what it is kind of a sci-fi fantasy hack and slash adventure. It looks like it's almost got like a science fiction Devil May Cry thing to it, and I'm
Stellar Blade
all about that.
Apparently
you are this sci-fi paratrooper warrior named Eve who goes to Earth on an adventure, but
με αυτήν την Eve την κάνανε controversy, επειδή τις κάνανε, ξέρεις, κόλο, βυζιά και τέτοια, ας πούμε. Βγήκαν όλοι και λέγανε την κάνατε over-sexualize και τέτοια, ενώ στη Ιαπωνία δεν τους νοιάζουν αυτά, έτσι, δεν τους νοιάζουν καν. Και αρχίσαν να γκρινιάζουν για το character model της κοπέλας, ρε. Ό,τι να είναι, πραγματικά κούρασαν αυτοί. Μια χαρά, είναι όμορφο, όλα super. Απλά εμένα το game μέχρι στιγμής δεν με κέρδισε. Εγώ θέλω μέχρι να βγει Stellar Blade, εγώ θέλω μέχρι να βρει το Devil May Cry. Ποιο Devil May Cry? Βγαίνει καινούριο Devil May Cry.
This Earth is destroyed, basically. Mankind has moved on beyond Earth and lives in space.
Κακά τα ψέματα, αυτό είναι ένα αρκετά μεγάλο κόπι του Nier Automata, έτσι.
Colonies. So she's got to venture through this post-apocalyptic sci-fi Earth and fight awesome big monsters. That's really all we have to go on at the time of making this video. Sony and PlayStation have planned to reveal more soon, but as of right now, it just looks cool. That's all we got. But sometimes looking cool and fun is all you really need. Next over at number 18, we have Skull and Bones. Yes, Ubisoft's long-in-the-works pirate game is finally almost here. What started off as, I guess, like a spin-off of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag's Pirates
Θέλω να μου γράφετε στα σχόλια ποια από αυτά τα games σας ενδιαφέρουν.
Style gameplay. Skull and Bones is this big, massive multiplayer thing where you get to be your own pirate, build your own ship, man your own crew, and go on adventures. This thing has been delayed and delayed and delayed for years and years, and that could spell disaster, or it could spell an idea worth pushing through this long.
Αν το Skull and Bones ήταν free to play, θα σου έλεγα ok. Αλλά 70 ευρώ, παιδιά, δυστυχώς όχι.
We don't know for sure, but we're excited to finally check it out because, to be completely honest, the world always needs more pirate games. I know we have the, Assassin's Creed pirate games, we have Sea of Thieves, we have classic pirate games, but like Skull and Bones can really, hopefully, bring something different. We don't know for sure. We're going to judge it when we get our hands on it when that releases February 16th. Next over at number 17, we have Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. This is another one that has been in development for a long time with some development change-ups and significant delays, but the developers are talking about the game more. They released developer diaries fairly consistently, and we're hoping we finally see it this year. This is the sequel to the famous PC RPG. There was really nothing like it at the time, and we're really hoping they knock it out of the park.
Αυτό λέτε να είναι ενδιαφέρον, λέτε να το τσιμπήσουμε αυτό.
Again, we don't know an exact release date, but we're thinking 2024, hopefully.
Φαίνεται ωραίο
like
αυτό,
I said,
τι
with
φάση.
pirate games, it's the same thing with vampire games. We need more vampire games. It's a good genre, and we love to see it. Next, over at number 16, we have a game called Light No Fire. This is from Hello Games, the people who made No Man's Sky.
Αναμένω το Assassin's Creed Red όσο σαν τρελός και θα πιστεύω όχι, θα βγει το 25 το Red. Το είδαμε στο προηγούμενο βίντεο, μπορεί να το δείτε, είναι στο YouTube με τα εβδομαδιαία gaming νέα.
So this
Καλησπέρα Bill.
game, they promised a lot up front. They said this is the first truly open.
Το Light No Fire, μπράβο, αυτό το είχαμε δει στα Game Awards. Είναι οι τύποι που κάνουν το No Man's Sky και λένε θα είναι ένα τεράστιο open world παιχνίδι που και ο χάρτης θα είναι ολόκληρη γη και θα είναι πάρα πολύ λεπτομερής.
Open world game, meaning it is a
Το Vampire δεν έχει καμία σχέση με το Vampire Masquerade.
massive whole world or planet for you to
Αυτό, παιδιά, πολύ με τράβηξε να το δοκιμάσω. Ειλικρινά. Και ειδικά είναι και multiplayer να παίξουμε μαζί παρέα όλοι, τύπου Palworld φάση. Αλλά αυτό πρέπει να είναι πολύ πιο triple A σε εισαγωγικά, θα έλεγα.
explore, seemingly in full multiplayer. It looks like it has
Full
different
multiplayer.
regions, different weird alien cultures, and just a lot of massive feeling exploration. All we have is one simple and honestly pretty gorgeous trailer to go on, and I know people are instantly skeptical because of Hello Games and the promises they made with No Man's Sky when that launched, and it didn't meet expectations. So they're at it again. I think they've learned a lot, and I'm curious to see what comes of this one, because if it actually is what they're saying and if it's fun, this could be really cool. Now, as of right now, it doesn't have a release date. Some analysts and some speculators are thinking it's been in development for a long time, so we might see it by holiday 2024. I would love that, to be honest. I really want to see what the deal is with this thing, but whenever it comes out is when it comes out. Next, over at number 15, we have Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. This is the follow-up to the
Αυτό, ρε φίλε, θέλω να το δοκιμάσω. Φαίνεται πολύ ωραίο.
awesome hack and slash adventure Space Marine. I think this new game has the potential to garner new Warhammer.
Δεν έχω μπει ποτέ στον κόσμο του Warhammer. Το lore και αυτά. Λένε είναι τεράστιο και θα ήθελα να δοκιμάσω, αλήθεια είναι.
40k fans, specifically because as a normie myself, I think this looks very cool. I played the original Space Marine, absolutely loved it, and you know, I was able to at least pick up
Ο Henry Cavill, ξέρετε, αγαπάει Warhammer και θα παίξει και στην ταινία.
a little bit of
Σε σειρά,
Warhammer
δεν ξέρω, σε
stuff.
κάτι
Will Space
τέτοιο.
Marine 2 really make me go down the rabbit hole finally? I don't know for sure, but this just looks like a ton of fun. Beautiful visuals on screen, hordes of enemies to slay, badass main character, cool weapons, gore, like it's just video game 101. We really hope they nail it like they did with the first one. We're going to be checking it out September 9th, 2024. Next, over at number 14, believe it or not, we have Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered.
Όπα. Tomb Raider 1 έως 3. Ποιος το έχει παίξει αυτό?
This might not be a big deal to some people, but
Η παιδική μου ηλικία, παιδιά. PlayStation 1, να εκνευρίζομαι, να κολλάω σε πίστες, να μην έχει ίντερνετ να δεις πώς θα περάσει την πίστα. Παιδιά, δεν μπορεί να φανταστείτε πόσες ώρες κλάμα, πόσες ώρες νεύρα.
for some of you older heads out there, myself included, it's really fun to see
Εκπληκτικό όμως, έτσι.
the original PS1 classic back in action with a little bit of a fresh coat of paint. They definitely aren't completely remaking the thing from the ground up. Like you can see, it is still very clearly the old original Tomb Raider games with all their faults, but they have a lot of charm. And we're really excited to replay them and really revisit those worlds because they were very unique at the time. Lara was very difficult to...
Πόσο καλό animation rig είχε για την... Ναι ρε μπρο, πόσο γαμάτο ήτανε. Τον έχω, ενώ το έχω παίξει... Jimmy.
Control, even back in the day. So I'm curious to see just where they fine-tuned things, where they updated things. They did confirm you're still going to be able to lock the butler in the fridge. That's a very specific reference to the old games, but if you played, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, and it's releasing February 14th.
14 Φεβρουαρίου έχει βγει ήδη.
Next, over at number 13, this summer we're getting Black Myth.
Backlive, ναι ρε bro.
This is the kind of action
Bro,
slash...
αυτό θα βγει τον Αύγουστο, το θέλω μέσα μου όλο βαθιά. Ρε, αυτό πολύ hype.
Souls-like
Μακάρι να είναι καλό.
Centered around Chinese mythology and a classical novel. So you got a lot of fantasy.
Είναι η ιστορία του Monkey King, έτσι. Είναι μυθολογία της κινέζικης μυθολογίας και είναι πολύ ωραίο, φαίνεται.
Really cool main character and just some incredible over-the-top combat, and boss battles. I mean, this game has absolutely wowed us from the start when we got our first glimpse of it. It's from a Chinese developer that we haven't really seen any of the other games before, but this one looks absolutely massive and ambitious. And we're curious to see if they can nail it because, like we said, those trailers right from the beginning really got us hooked. And now seeing the game fully fleshed out, it does look really enticing. It's releasing August 19th, 2024.
19 Αυγούστου 2024.
Persona 3 Reload. Dropping in February, this is a re-release total update of the original beloved Persona 3 classic with a bunch of new elements. And
αυτό είναι από τα top games, το Wukong το προηγούμενο, που περιμένω full περιμένω ρε.
Some change-ups, but also just a good reason to revisit the classic. Now, Persona 3 is going to be available on all the major platforms, which is great. And of course, specifically here, PS5. Characters that people absolutely fell in love with and some incredible music. That's what's coming to you. And we hope it holds up in 2024. Next, over at number 11, we have Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden. This is a...
Αυτό πώς σας φάνηκε το Banishers?
Third-person action-adventure game from Dogma, the people behind so many things like Vampire, Life is Strange. They make a big variety of games, and this one is definitely more in the vein of Vampire or Vampire, if you will, where you play as like a kind of ghost-hunting couple, fighting ghouls and creatures, and kind of warping between realms because one of the people in the relationship is actually a ghost. There's some cool ideas here. I'm really curious to see how this goes down and what kind of story they tell.
Ευχαριστώ.
I usually like these types of games Dogma puts out. And we'll know for sure when it releases February 13th, 2024.
Το είδα από το καινούριο show του Σάκη στο το Level 1, το οποίο παίζει τις πρώτες ώρες από video game. Έκατσα, είδα παιδιά. Δεν είναι κάτι που θα με ενδιέφερε εμένα προσωπικά και δεν με τράβηξε για να ασχοληθώ. Αυτό.
Next, over at number 10, we have Lost Soul Aside. This one has been in the works for quite some time and teased as a smaller project many years ago and has blown up into this full
Νίκανδρε, καλώς ήρθες. Ούτε και από μένα όχι ήταν αυτό.
Scale project and looks very much inspired by like the cool, slick action and characters from like Final Fantasy VII, but also
και αυτό θυμίζει Final Fantasy όντως.
From Devil May Cry. Also, like Stellar Blade, we talked about earlier, a lot of attention here is specifically centered around the graphics. The visuals here are clearly pretty stunning. We're really curious to see what comes of this one, and as of right now, it's slated for 2024. Next, over at number 9, we have Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. They're going big with this one. You're going to be able to drive around all of Hong Kong
Test Drive! Πού το θυμήθηκαν το Test Drive? Το θυμάστε? What the fuck?
Whatever gorgeous high-end cars you want, and have a
Δεν ήξερα καν ότι υπάρχει αυτό ακόμα.
Of freedom. Frankly, Test Drive players have been begging for a new game for a while now. It's a series that's been dormant, and it's really
παλιά όταν παίζαμε racing games.
Cool to be talking about it, and the fact that it's coming back. Visuals look absolutely incredible. I expect the handling and the driving to feel good, but we'll judge that.
Ποιος θυμάται Driver? Driver 3 το game. Ποιος το θυμάται? Ωραία, μαλάκι.
When we play it. As of right now, it is slated for coming soon.
Το πρώτο Driver.
And we're hoping this is the year we see it.
Την πίστα στο πάρκινγκ. Πω Χριστέ μου νεύρα.
So over number 8, we have Metal Gear Solid 3.
Ναι, το θέλω μέσα μου.
Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta, whatever you want to call it. Konami is bringing back Metal Gear Solid with this visual remake. It looks like the gameplay is going to be pretty similar, but visually, this thing looks pretty damn incredible.
Το θέλω, παιδιά, δεν μπορώ. Το θέλω.
The feeling of the original game. Because I'm a diehard Metal Gear fan, and I just worry about them screwing this up. Metal Gear fans, we definitely have a complicated history with Konami and the franchise now for sure.
Φοβάμαι τόσο πολύ ότι η Konami θα κάνει πατάτα με το Metal Gear Solid Remake. Είναι το Metal Gear Solid 3 αυτό. Γιατί το 3 είναι το αγαπημένο μου. Νομίζω θα κάνει μεγαλύτερη πατάτα ever. Αλλά ελπίζω, και υπάρχει μια ελπίδα μέσα μου ότι θα είναι ακριβώς αυτό που παίξαμε, απλά με καλύτερα γραφικά. Σε παρακαλώ.
But this thing might release this year. News reports and some stuff from Konami.
Φέτος λέει, μπορεί φέτος να βγει. Τι λες?
That we might see this and another game they're working on that we'll talk about in a bit this year. But who knows? Next, over at number 7, we have Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This game is Prince of Persia going back to...
Το έχω παίξει, έχω mini review στο TikTok, μπορεί να το δείτε. Πολύ καλό. Είναι παιδιά η έκπληξη από την Ubisoft. Πολύ καλό παιχνίδι. Είναι έτσι side scroller, αλλά έχει πολύ ωραία mechanics, πολύ ωραίο gameplay.
Now it's a full-blown Metroidvania, and it's absolutely awesome. We were skeptical of not playing as the prince. This game definitely goes in its own new direction with fantasy and lore and centered around Persian mythology, but even though you're not the titular Prince of Persia, this game is a ton of fun and probably one of the better Metroidvanias in a minute. The combat is really, really fun and addictive. The discovery and exploration is good. The boss battles are cool. The style is really interesting. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown definitely has a little bit of everything. We didn't expect Ubisoft to put out something this good, to be honest, because sometimes we're a little skeptical of it.
Αυτό που είπε, δεν περιμέναμε η Ubisoft να βγάλει κάτι τόσο καλό. Συγγνώμη Ubisoft, αγαπάω γλυκούλα μου, ψυχούλα μου όμορφη, αλλά είναι η αλήθεια αυτό, παιδιά. Δεν μπορούμε να μιλάμε την αλήθεια εδώ πέρα, έτσι. Και βλέπετε ότι και αυτά τα παιδιά εδώ, γενικά όλοι συμμερίζονται αυτήν την άποψη πλέον.
But as of right now, you can play it on PS5. Next, over at number 6, we have the Silent Hill 2 remake. This is another one coupled with the Metal Gear Solid 3.
Μετά, παιδιά, από το PlayStation State of Play, απογοητεύτηκα πολύ από το Silent Hill 2. Αυτό που είδα δεν μου άρεσε. Αλλά κρατάω θετικές σκέψεις, θετική άβρα. Μακάρι να βγει ωραίο. Θα παίξουμε να το δοκιμάσουμε.
Remake, where a news report suggested we might see it in 2024. This is from Bloober Team, the people behind games like The Medium that have been tasked with remaking the classic. We don't really know how this one is going to turn out. We haven't, frankly, seen too much of it yet. Apparently, the combat's getting an overhaul, and obviously the visuals, but we're just really curious to see if a completely different studio really can handle the nuances, the subtleties, the things that really make the original Silent Hill 2 so incredible and iconic from the Japanese developers over at Konami. Also, we just need something good from the Silent Hill franchise. It's been a while. So let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. Next, over at number 5, we have Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. This is the next Like a Dragon game.
Αυτό το γενικά Yakuza δεν έχω παίξει ποτέ. Θέλω να παίξω Yakuza και μάλλον το Like a Dragon θα είναι. Όχι αυτό, το προηγούμενο. Θέλω να παίξω τέλος πάντων να ξεκινήσω αυτό το franchise. Και θα παίξω ένα από αυτά τα καινούργια τέλος πάντων. Δεν θα παίξω τα παλιά. Γιατί πολύ ενδιαφέρον είναι αυτό το style παιχνιδιού.
Once again, continuing Ichiban's saga. Kiryu is in it, but he is pretty much on his way out. He's gotten his story sort of wrapped up in other games and a spin-off game, so now they're going in a different direction. But essentially here you have the two
όχι, αυτό είναι το άλλο θα παίξω.
In Hawaii going on adventures, and it is a ton of fun. The RPG turn-based combat is better than ever. The diversions and distractions and weird things in the open world are even more fun than they've been in the past. There's a lot to love about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I mean, the Yakuza series started on like PlayStation 2, right? It's cool to see it still continuing to this day. It's been a long time. The franchise has changed for sure, but it's found a really fun identity. Next, over at number 4, we have Dragon's Dogma 2. This is the RPG sequel that people have been begging for years. Capcom really cracked the code with the original fantasy RPG. Just having that specific Capcom
Εδώ χρειάζεται να πούμε κάτι. Επικό, σίγουρα θα παίξουμε.
Spin on, kind of a played out genre really worked for people. And Dragon's Dogma 2 looks like they're just doing more.
Ό,τι έχω δει μέχρι στιγμής του Dragon Dogma, που έχω δει όλα τα τρέιλερ, όλα τα βίντεο, όλα τα gameplay, εκπληκτικό. Θα χαϊπαριστούμε. Το μόνο πρόβλημα είναι ότι βγαίνει μαζί με το Rise of the Ronin. Το οποίο και αυτό μου άρεσε. Αν και δεν είμαι Team Ninja fan των Neo Wulong παιχνιδιών, δεν μου άρεσαν. Αλλά εκείνο φαίνεται ωραίο. Αλλά σίγουρα θα προτιμήσω να παίξω πρώτα Dragon's Dogma 2.
Giving fans more of what they want. A really fun action RPG with a strong narrative and good player choice and a bigger world this time around, cool battles. It just seems like they're really onto something here. It's probably our most anticipated RPG of the year.
Mysta, θα με χάσει το Dragon Dogma. Άστα αυτά, στα stream εδώ δεν θέλω. Θα κάνεις διάλειμμα.
It's releasing March 21st, 2024. Next, over at number 3, we have Star Wars Outlaws.
Dragon Age όχι, δεν έχουμε παντελή κανένα νέο ακόμα.
Star Wars.
Αυτό το παιχνίδι δεν με έχει πείσει καθόλου. Ξέρω ότι πολλοί από εσάς είστε χαϊπαρισμένοι. Δεν με έχει πείσει αυτό το παιχνίδι καθόλου ακόμα. Δεν μου αρέσει τίποτα. Δεν ξέρω γιατί.
So while this isn't like a games as a service game, I'd say that the Massive definitely knows how to build compelling open worlds.
Κατά πάσα πιθανότητα ναι.
They're doing it with a Star Wars game. And it feels like for once you're not a Jedi. You're more of a Han Solo type character. So
ναι, είναι θηλυκιά Han Solo στην ουσία. Δεν με πειράζει που δεν έχει Jedi. Με πειράζει ότι μου φαίνεται λίγο generic, θα το πω. Μου βγάζει μία... Δεν ξέρω.
Some cool different things here. From reports and what we've seen with Ubisoft, it seems like we're going to be playing it by the end of this year. And we're looking forward to seeing what the deal is, because Star Wars games have been on a roll recently. Now down at number 2, we have Rise of the Ronin. This is the next game from Team Ninja, the people most recently behind Neo and Neo 2, and it seems like they're once again kind of doing a Souls-like style game, but more of an open-world adventure with an emphasis on story.
Κάποιους Star Wars games που μου άρεσε πάρα πολλά μου άρεσε. Να σου πω σε λίγο.
You're in 19th century Japan. The region is changing. There is conflict, and you're this cool badass guy with gadgets and like a grappling hook and a glider.
Αν σας πω αυτό λίγο με χαϊπάρει λίγο παραπάνω από τον Dragon's Dogma, θα είμαι περίεργος.
And of course, a gun and a katana. The battles look really compelling and fun. There's some cool boss battles we've seen footage of, and we're really excited to get our hands on this one. Is it going to be as challenging as Neo and Neo 2? We don't know for sure, but we're hoping that they can also tell a really good story here. Basically, if you've been waiting for something to scratch that Ghost of Tsushima itch, Rise of the Ronin might do it. And it's releasing March 22nd, 2024. And finally, down at number 1, of course, it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This one has been in the works.
Ελλάδα, ξύπνα.
For a while, people have been waiting to see what happens next
Δείτε εδώ μαλάκα σκηνικό, θα πεθάνω.
in the Final Fantasy VII Remake world. I mean,
Κόσμο Κάνιον.
we kind of know what's going to happen next, but they've changed some things up. They've shaken some things up quite a bit. So
Ούτε δύο εβδομάδες να έμεινα.
there could be some surprises. In this next entry of Final Fantasy VII, this is where things really get interesting. The areas open up, the characters
Το Game of the Year μου νομίζω θα είναι αυτό, παιδιά. Ειλικρινά, δείτε.
in crazier scenarios, and even more happens in the story. So we're really excited to see it go down. There's more emphasis on party mechanics this time around, it seems. And we're just ready to go, because Final Fantasy VII Remake was awesome.
Πόσο πιο καλό. Πες τα ρε.
And we're excited to see how this one goes. It's releasing February 29th, 2024. But those are 20 games coming to PS5 in 2024. So let us know in the comments what you guys think. Of course, we could not fit every single game in the world. So if we missed something that you think we should talk about in another video, let us know in the comments. But if you like this video and you just like talking games with us every day.
Ευχαριστούμε Jake, ευχαριστούμε Μπρογκολόκο. Λοιπόν, σας αφήνω το link στο chat για δώστε ένα like. Παιδιά, πολύ ωραία η λίστα, θα έλεγα. Πάρα πολλά games ενδιαφέροντα. Λάτρεψα. Πόσο πιο καλό. Δεν γίνεται πιο καλό. Ειλικρινά. Όσοι παίξανε το demo, εγώ επίτηδες δεν έπαιξα το demo γιατί δεν θέλω να πάω φρέσκο στο game. Λένε ότι είναι εκπληκτικό. Τα γραφικά είναι εκπληκτικά. Εγώ έχω δει κάτι spoils μικρά στο TikTok που ο Cloud παίζει πιάνο. Που είναι η τύφη μας στο chat. Και παιδιά παίζανε πολλά τραγούδια εκεί πέρα στο πιάνο τα παιδιά και ανεβάζανε TikToks και παίζανε ό,τι τραγούδια φανταστείτε, ξέρω εγώ. Δηλαδή μπορείς να παίξεις κανονικά τραγούδι στο πιάνο, ρε. Είναι insane. Μου λες, εντάξει, εμείς τα σιγά πιάνο παίζει, αλλά ξέρεις που έχει αυτά τα mini games που γνωρίζαμε από το πρώτο game, εμένα μου αρέσει, κατάλαβες, τα mini games που βρίσκεις μες στον κόσμο, ας πούμε, και αυτά.